In this module, we are going to be looking at voice search and its impact on SEO. We are going to be looking at why voice search is important. We are going to be looking at what voice search entails. We are going to be looking at some companies who are not prepared for voice search or have not optimized for voice search. And we are going to be looking at how to optimize for voice search so that you guys can get a good understanding and know what to do when it comes to optimizing for voice search, and you can go and study a bit more further if you need to. Now, why is voice search important? Well, let's take a look. 55% of users do a voice search to ask questions on a smartphone, according to research performed by Proficient. 39% of users in the US operate a voice assistant at least once a month, according to eMarketer. Now, let's look at these numbers for a bit. 55% of users do a voice search to ask questions on a smartphone. That piece of information gives a lot of insight into what voice search is and how people use voice search. The majority of them do it to ask a question. And when we talk about the future of search, the reason why we say the future of search is voice is because people are more and more searching for questions, question-based searches, because of voice search. Because people pick up their phone and rather than typing it in, they enable the voice search and they use a conversational style of searching for something. And because of that, it is more or less a question. And that impacts the keywords that we need to look at, and that impacts how we need to optimize our pages. Okay, so that's why we say the future, or that's what I say, the future of search is more going to be impacted by voice search. Let's look at this figure from Google. 20% of searches on Google's mobile app on Android phones are conducted by voice. Now, this is a figure from 2016. So that means this number must have increased. Okay, so if you've got an Android and you're using the Android app, probably now 30, 40, 50% of the searches performed on that app are probably done by voice. Google is now a mobile first index. Now, what does that mean? It means that Google ranks pages based on the mobile content predominantly. Okay, so if your site has a desktop version and a mobile version, mainly it's going to do the ranking based on the mobile content. If your site is responsive, you're already covered. You don't need to really worry about this because your content is more or less the same. All it means is that now the mobile content is Google's index. It's the predominant view that Google ranks pages from. Okay, but when it comes back to voice search, it just shows the impact of mobile. That mobile is impacting search so vastly that Google has switched the way it ranks pages. Okay, which overall is going to mean that voice search is probably going to increase and become more and more prominent. And we have to be ready for that because the way people use voice, as we've seen here, impacts the way they search. And we are going to be looking at that in the next lecture.